Sonic music. Who doesn't love a good Sonic song? What the hell is this? Sonic music is usually one of, if not the highlight of every Sonic game, meticulously composed to elevate your experience to new heights. It's as diverse as it is incredible mostly, and is an integral part of the Sonic franchise. Even though they are really diverse, some Sonic games have very similar settings in different games, such as Green Hill and Seaside Hill. And even though their respective songs are really different, they are really similar in that they transmit a similar vibe. But there is one type of music in every Sonic game that I feel is unique to each and every game, and reflects each experience individually perfectly, and that is each game's respective ending theme, a type of song that is often overlooked compared to its counterpart, the opening theme. And today, that's what we're gonna be looking at. I'm gonna be looking at each mainline Sonic game's ending song and then analyzing it and tying it with the game, story and the whole game as an experience. I'll also cover some songs from other spin-offs that I may think deserve a mention, so you can probably see in the video timeline the games covered. I also want to stress that I'm not a music expert, so take my actual musical analysis with a grain of salt. The analysis might be a little bit cheesy, so yeah, that's your warning right there. It's about time someone gives them the spotlight that they deserve. So, we start in 1991 with Sonic 1. Sega had been trying to compete with Nintendo in the video game market both on consoles and actual games for a while now, but Nintendo always had the upper hand with the likes of The Legend of Zelda and especially Mario, compared to Sega's Alex Kidd, Outrun or even Phantasy Star. So, after lots of effort to finally create something that could rival Nintendo's main selling franchise, Sega came up with Sonic, having its first release on the 23rd of June of 1991. This had to be an absolutely stellar title that would leave a mark on everyone who played it. And at the time, it was and it did, with fast gameplay and incredible tunes, accompanied by some of the most diverse and colorful levels and settings at the time. Everyone knew that Sonic was going places, and its ending song is just a reaffirmation of that. The ending song itself is more of a medley of all the songs in the game rather than an actually fully original song. It starts out with a completely original tune though, sort of introducing the credit sequence. It then plays through all the songs from the levels in the game, although not by the order that you play them, eventually ending with the title screen music. This song is one of those that I probably have the least to say about. It's very simple and humble and oddly charming in a way, just as Sonic 1 itself. It reflects the diversity of the game, mostly aided by just reusing songs, and also the humble origins of the Sonic franchise, while also transmitting the feeling that something truly great has just been born. And that statement was proven correct just a year later, with the release of Sonic 2, introducing Tails for the first time and the Chaos Emeralds as we know them today. This game is like Sonic 1 on crack. Better gameplay, better music, better storyline, better graphics, better almost everything. It was truly a step up from the first game, and that is translated into the ending theme as well. The ending theme on this one is much more serene compared to Sonic 1's. The context in where this is played is right after defeating the Death Egg robot, where Sonic flees from an exploding Death Egg. Tails and the animals on Earth are watching as it explodes, and then you get a scene where Tails is flying on a tornado right by Super Sonic and the animals that you save throughout. This song feels like a reward. After going through many difficult stages, such as Metropolis and the Death Egg Zone, the game rewards you with a peaceful song and a cute little animation to wrap the experience perfectly. Reading through some comments regarding this song, a lot of people seem to describe that exact same feeling. It feeling like a reward and reminding them of their childhood, as well as feeling emotional and even crying just from reminiscing about those times. And that's what an ending song should be like, really. It should be so iconic and memorable that it always takes you back to happy times. And I know for certain that I'm not the only one that thinks this way. And we are off to a great sequence, because we are about to extend it with Sonic 3. Sonic 3 is much more like how we know Sonic games today. It introduces a clearer storyline with the introduction of Knuckles and the Master Emerald, as well as introducing some concepts that would be present in the franchise for years to come. It follows Sonic 2's footsteps and improves what needed to be improved, and the ending song is nothing short of incredible as well. This song makes you feel like both a stranger in Moscow and like you just saved the world from an evil genius. It isn't as calm and emotional as Sonic 2's was, it's much more upbeat, as to reassure you that the only way to go is forward, as this song transmits that end of a saga vibe. It oozes confidence, much like Sonic and Knuckles at this point, and it's a great song to vibe to after experiencing the game. I feel like that basically any ending theme is a great opportunity to reflect about what you just experienced, be it a game, a movie, a series, whatever. To take a moment to gather yourself and internalize what you just consumed over the last few hours of your life. Was it well spent? Did I enjoy myself? And after hearing this song, the answer better be yes. It just feels like how game credits should sound like, and it's often a feeling that you can't really put into words. It's just an epic, grandiose song, you can't go wrong with it. Much like the other two games, although Sonic 3 doesn't feature a medley, Sonic and Knuckles does, and it feels as great to listen as any of the previous did. At this point, you probably thought that I was forgetting about CD, which I honestly did when I was writing this, but hey, we are talking about it now. CD, although a weird one, just strengthens the idea of what makes Sonic Sonic. What I already said a billion times by now, speed, color, confidence, good music and gameplay, they are all here. Although it shares a lot in common with the other three games, it is as different as it is familiar. Here we are introduced to Metal Sonic and Amy, the time stones and time travel. This weirdness and unfamiliarity is honestly perfectly translated into the ending song, or ending songs should I say. Sonic CD famously has two distinct soundtracks, the Japanese version and the US version. The Japanese version song is Comic Eternity Believe in Yourself. It's a groovy, heavily influenced 90s song featuring very characteristic lyrics that no one can understand. And it sounds as great as ever. This is the first ending theme to have lyrics, and as its title suggests, they talk about confidence and believing in yourself, believing that you can make a difference and can do some great deeds. It's honestly a perfect fit to a Sonic game. Sonic games make you feel great while playing, like you're capable of anything, and make you feel really cool when you're playing. This confidence that is induced into your veins by the game is why this song is such a perfect fit. It starts out very emotional, calm and even sad. Until it gets more optimistic with a keep going vibe, as we've seen with Sonic 3 as well. You've got to have some faith in yourself if you want respect from your friends, is the main message in this song. It tells you that you should be confident and have faith in yourself. You should be someone that people look up to through tough times, as an example of overcoming and resilience, much like how Sonic is to his friends. It doesn't tell you to be the savior of the world, a global hero, rather just being the best version of yourself, and a confident one at that. As it sounds very familiar with these talks of confidence coincidence, it also sounds unfamiliar in how it sounds overall. We never really had a Sonic song sound like this before, much like how we never had a Sonic game like CD before, and it reflects the game like that perfectly, and it kinda feels like the best way to say goodbye to classic Sonic. Well, this classic Sonic anyways. The US ending theme is a remix of Sonic Boom, the opening theme from the US version. It features basically the same lyrics as the opening song, although it features some lines that are not present there. This version is much slower and calmer than the opening, and features different instruments as well. Even featuring an acoustic guitar solo at the ending, which just sounds great. This one is very similar to its Japanese counterpart, addressing the same topics and aspects, although it has its own individual merits. Both songs are incredible in their own regard, and reflect perfectly the feeling of satisfaction after beating this game, managing to create a good future for every stage. Going through the bad future path just feels wrong, and it kinda gives the lesson that you should do things the right way, or in the game's case, create a good future. If you gotta do something, believe in yourself. Even though I don't have much to say about Sonic R, I wanted to mention it because I know some people will want to hear about it, as Sonic R is highly praised for its soundtrack. It's well known that this soundtrack doesn't really fit much at all with the game. It's a weird situation, it both fits and doesn't fit, but regardless of that, the songs are great individually anyways. The ending theme of R is You Are My Number One. I think it's important to cover themes like these too. You're My Number One doesn't really fit with the ending at all, especially because this is a racing game and doesn't really have an ending. It's rather used as the credit song. The lyrics mostly talk about love and wanting to be next to their special someone, which doesn't really reflect Sonic R or any Sonic game for that matter, although it has the occasional references to winning races and all.
It's only just begun. When you're next to me, so much more I can see. There's nowhere that I'd rather be when I'm away.
It reeks of the 80s and the 90s, much like Sonic R and the soundtrack in its entirety, which today kinda just brings you back to those times. I wasn't born yet when this game came out. Maybe at the time it was just a good song to listen to, similar to any other song. But as someone who didn't live and experience the culture from those decades, for me this song basically represents those times. People born back then might disagree, which is fine, but I guess that this song kinda represents Sonic's goodbye to the heavily 90s influenced culture, as opposed to the very heavy 2000s culture we'll see from now on. With that said, when I think of Sonic music, this is one of the first songs that comes to mind. 24 years later, and this song not only still slaps, but its influence is still felt in the newer titles. This soundtrack was one of, if not the first, to make use of this genre extensively, so it's definitely an important song in the franchise. I'm not gonna lie, I originally forgot that Sonic Adventure has like 6 different stories, and that each story has a unique ending theme, which is just their character's main theme. But yeah, I guess they fit their endings as well as they fit their character really. The Gamma theme makes me really sad though. Open Your Heart is both the main theme and the ending theme of the last story in Sonic Adventure. From the moment it starts playing with the opening cinematic, you know shit is about to go down and that you have a great mission in your hands. The way it is used in the ending doesn't disappoint as well, because this song is also used during the final boss. Every time this song starts playing during the final boss, I lose my shit. It makes you feel like you've gone super yourself, and like the whole game as an experience up until this point was worth it. It's literally hype in its highest form. As an ending theme though, works as well. Not only does it make you hyped from the opening because you feel like a great threat is imminent, with lines such as shadows of dark creatures, steel clouds floating in the air, people run for shelter, what's gonna happen to us? But it also makes you hyped in the ending for everything that you've accomplished. You have defeated not only Eggman, but a giant water creature that destroyed an entire city. The population is probably all dead, which is a bit weird to think about, but hey, everything is worth it if this song comes up. It teaches you that between the highs and the lows, you will find your way and everything will be fine. You just gotta keep going. It makes you feel unstoppable. You took on that thing and won. You can do everything. The lyrics sometimes are a bit awkward, which is to be expected, but everything in it just flows smoothly like clockwork. This song and game have shaped many childhoods, not only from the moment it was released, but when it was re-released as well, which is my case. Sure, I know not everyone enjoys SA1, but there is no denying that this song is a perfect fit for the game, and that its influence is still felt many years after, and will probably remain that way for a long time, although the ending theme in the next game sounds a little bit different. Sonic Adventure 2 is probably one of the deepest games in the Sonic franchise, with one of the most powerful stories. The whole plot about Shadow being created by Eggman's grandfather, him being created through a terrible accident that produced not only him but a bio-lizard, being brainwashed by Gerald to make him carry out his revenge and grief for the death of Maria, and then getting executed, is pretty dark for a Sonic game. The ending song is much more serene than Sonic Adventures, and it reflects the story perfectly, kinda like a calm after the storm. It's sad, emotional and slow. It fits perfectly with Shadow actually becoming a good guy and carrying out Maria's wish, moving on from her death and living in the present rather than on his memories. He fights the bio-lizard and the final hazard, and then sacrifices himself to save the planet, with his final words being,
Maria, this is what you wanted, right? This is my promise I made to you.
finally overcoming Gerald's brainwashing and fulfilling his purpose. Then, if that wasn't enough, you get a scene with each character mourning his death and moving on from their previous motivations, and kinda reconciling as well. It's kinda weird that there are no jokes, they don't really relax, they only talk somberly. It even feels like Eggman really considered moving on from villainy. This song is basically a tribute to Shadow and all that he went through. It's a pretty definitive ending since the Dreamcast was struggling, making it feel like this was truly supposed to be the last Sonic game ever. We all know that it wasn't, and we all know that Shadow is back in Heroes, which does kinda kill the magic of the ending, but when you forget all of that, the sad beauty of this song shines brighter than anything. The Dreamcast itself always felt like a sad and melancholic console, from all the sound effects, its looks, everything. The ending is kind of a tribute to the Dreamcast as well, saying goodbye to the past and the transition to live and learn in the ending being a hello to the future. It's an amazing ending theme, and no doubt one of the most memorable.
It's me.
Sayonara, Shadow, the Hedgehog.
But there is no time to be sad. Hey, Shadow is back, guys. Sonic Heroes is both the main theme and ending theme of, you guessed it, Sonic Free Ride Sonic Heroes. Being one of the most iconic vocal themes in the franchise, Sonic Heroes embodies the Sonic culture present for years to come. Rock and raw 2000s happiness. This song is goat, raw fire and peak fiction, and it gets you hyped from the moment it starts playing at the start as it does in the ending. I have this song in such high regard because this game is quite literally the first game that I have ever played in my life. So both the game and the song are very close to my heart. It makes you feel like a kid again, like all that magic is back for at least 3 minutes and 28 seconds. The lyrics are full of allegories to both the characters and the story. A mighty crash without a sound talks about Sonic being faster than sound. I tried to strike but a bit too late, being about Sonic and the others being too late to stop Metal Sonic from transforming into Metal Overlord, you get it. From the moment you hear it in the ending, you are brought back the same magic that you felt when you first heard it before playing. It's a bright melodic song that makes you proud of what you achieved in the entire game, reminiscing about a journey up until this point, going through so many different areas and settings, although multiple times, and stopping Metal Overlord from taking over the world. It's an uplifting song that really makes you feel like you're capable of anything. Give us a reason and we are on our way. A lot of Sonic songs make you feel that way because that's just how Sonic is. Confident, resilient and strong. And that's the main message of this song as well. It wants to transmit confidence to you, make you feel unstoppable and capable of overcoming any difficulty in the grimmest of situations, like the Sonic franchise and what Sonic and his friends themselves have done over the years. I feel like I have and will repeat this conclusion many times, but it's the reality. Sonic games are supposed to entertain you and be fun to play, yes, but I feel like everyone who works in these games has a higher motive to write the stories the way they do, the lyrics the way they're sung. Sonic is confident for a reason, and I believe that it's to transmit both young children and adults that you should keep going even if the odds are against you, and I have no doubts that this message has helped a lot of people during the years. If you don't like the games, you should at least try to take a lesson out of them, and maybe I'm making it too deep and cheesy, but that's just how I feel about it. And next is another spin-off that I felt had to be covered, Shadow the Hedgehog. The ending theme for Shadow the Hedgehog is Never Turn Back. Well, the ending theme for the true last story at least, but that's a story for another time. It starts out pretty sad, with a slow, peaceful piano intro before transitioning into the usual hard rock, which is a signature of the soundtrack. The piano melody can be interpreted as Shadow paying his last respects to Maria of sorts, before moving on and transitioning to a more uplifting part of the song, that literally being the main point of the song. It tells you not to forget where you came from, but you shouldn't stick to your past and your mistakes and should just move on. The lyrics are sung as if they are sung by Shadow himself. He talks about his struggles throughout the song. It's been a long rough road and I'm finally here. Move an inch forwards feels like a year. Remembering who he was and how he feels his progress is slow. Shadow feels like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders and doesn't really know who to trust and who is telling the truth. He faced impossible odds but still came out on top. He's the ultimate life form and nothing can defeat him. The song ends up with Shadow reconciling with himself and his feelings, eventually letting go of his past and moving forwards with his life. He is not going to let people tell him what to do. The multiple endings in the game basically show you the many ways that Shadow could have chosen to live his life, but he chose the true last story path, the path this song complements the best. He has done bad things, but has learned to become a better version of himself and save the world from those who have tried to take advantage of him and his grief. He has learned to accept who he was and he is not going back to that. He is not going back in life.
From this moment on, I am moving on, and I'll never turn back.
So, forwards we move to 2006 with Sonic Riders. I'm gonna be real with you, I don't really have much to say about Riders. I just wanted to cover it to have a reason to cover Zero Gravity and Free Riders. Riders has two different ending themes, one for the hero story and another for the Babylon story. The hero's ending theme is High Flying Groove, which is the exact same song that plays whenever you finish a race, which is strange. The song itself is great and fits in perfectly with the style of the game and soundtrack. It makes you feel like even without wings you can still fly. It's the perfect track to play when going 200 km per hour on the highway. As an ending song though, it isn't terrible, nor anything special really. I would say that it fits oddly well with the goofy ending of the hero story, although it's a bit underwhelming. The Babylon story, on the other hand, has a fully original Catch Me If You Can. A catchy and weird electronic song that fits in with the style of the Babylon Rogues. The lyrics are sung in Jet's perspective, since most of it is literally Jet praising himself and the Babylon Rogues, believing himself to be the fastest thing alive and the best, reach but never catch. It also talks about the rivalry between Jet and Sonic, believing that Sonic and his friends stand no chance against the Babylon Rogues, and Jet teaching Sonic that he has to become one with the wind to win the tournament. The song perfectly translates the confidence and reckless attitude of the Rogues, not only by the weird and heavily trying to be cool lyrics, but also the careless and clumsy use of the instruments, fitting perfectly with that vibe. But if we are talking about Metacritic reviews, Sonic 06 can neither reach nor catch. Well, sorry for that joke. Sonic 06 left a lot to be desired. Troubled development and time constraints plagued the game, which is proven not only by the final product we know, but by all the cut, unused and scrapped content that was found. One thing that didn't leave a lot to be desired though was the soundtrack. It just makes you want more of it if anything, which isn't something that you would expect from a game that is considered to be one of the worst games to have ever been made. From orchestral to rock, techno, pop and many others, this soundtrack has it all, including 4 ending themes. I know I didn't cover the other ending themes from the Adventures and Shadow, but these are logically for the ending of Sonic's, Shadow's and Silver's story and the Lost story. Oh yeah, this game introduces Silver and Blaze, which is cool I guess. The ending theme for Sonic's story is Sweet Dreams by Akon. I bet he doesn't even remember making this song. Fun fact about this song is that its melody is played during the ending of Sonic 2. So yeah, the song from Sonic 2 I covered is basically this song but without lyrics and with the Mega Drive sound chips. I sadly have to say that the lyrics of this song seem to be talking about Sonic's relationship with Elise, in a way that I can't even begin to describe. God, have some manners, I'm almost throwing up just from reading this. During the end credits, there are some scenes that go along with the lyrics at the right moment, such as when the line "I'm holding you in my arms" comes up, the scene where Sonic is holding Elise in the forest is shown. The song itself is fine I guess, just not in this context, Jesus Christ. All Hail Shadow is the theme of Shadow, as well as the ending theme of his story. This song's lyrics are a perfect continuation of Never Turn Back. It reinforces the idea that Shadow is a new Hedgehog and has put his past behind him. No ghost to bring you down. He is still trying to reclaim his memory and remember who he is and what his purpose is, but now he does what he wants and no one can tell him what to do. This destruction is the only tale we tell. Much like Never Turn Back, it once again reinforces the idea that Shadow will never forget where he came from, even though it won't stop him. Nothing ever fills this hole inside your heart, meaning that he will never recover from the tragedies that he has faced. Hell, even the line "Heroes Rise Again" just goes to show how he has changed and how he is a hero now, traveling with Silver to save the future and defeating Mephiles. This song is also present in Shadow the Hedgehog as the pure hero ending theme, but I feel like it has a deeper meaning in this game now that we have listened to Never Turn Back, showing how Shadow has evolved. It also sounds a hell of a lot different, sounding more soft compared to the 06 version. Dreams of an Absolution, much like All Hail Shadow, is both a character's theme song and the ending theme for its story, in this case Silver's. Although Dreams of an Absolution is a catchy synthy techno song, it's accompanied by solemn and sadness. It feels like the song can never reach a true climax because it always feels like it's being held back by something, which suits Silver's storyline. Silver's life is also filled with solemn and sadness. He lives in New York circa 2025, everything destroyed and in flames. He can never truly enjoy his life because his world is completely destroyed and he couldn't save it. All your troubles, are they what they seem? Referencing how he thinks that Sonic is the Iblis trigger, the one who released Iblis and destroyed the world and his life. The lyrics keep referencing how Silver is going back in time to save the future, and the three hedgehogs having the chance to change and control the past in an effort to save the future, showing some of Silver's hope to make things right, and keeps making references to Silver's suffering. Happiness lies trapped in misery, meaning that happiness, in this case sealing Iblis once and for all, something that him and Blaze couldn't do, also means that Blaze has to be sealed in another dimension, being away from Silver forever. It's a pretty sad song when you really think about it.
'Cause every night I will save you.
The last ending theme in this game is the actual ending theme for the last story, being the theme of Elise, My Destiny.
Time ago, I can hear you calling me to never let you go.
It's a pretty sweet and peaceful song with lyrics sung in Elise's perspective. Even though Elise and Sonic's relation is weird, especially when that happened, this song kinda makes me hate it less. I don't really hate Elise as a character specifically. I think that her whole concept as a character is pretty good actually, but her and Sonic are put in some situations with writing so terrible that it kinda ruins the character, even though she really isn't that bad of a character in paper. The lyrics are pretty cute if you don't think about them that way. They specifically talk about her storyline much like any other theme song does, like how she can't cry, otherwise Iblis will be released into the world and ruin it, how she hasn't been happy since her father has died, etc. She also sings about her relationship with Sonic, which is to be expected, like how he has brought her genuine happiness since her father has died, how she wants him to always be with her, and how she is content with her memories of Sonic in the end. When you really stop to think that she's singing like that about a 3 feet tall hedgehog that wears sneakers and runs fast, it does truly feel astonishing, but what did you expect? It's a song that makes you feel at ease and at peace, much like how the game's ending does. After all that you just went through, both bad, weird and oddly good, everything eventually turns out fine, and it just makes you say damn. It really makes you think about the potential that the game had, how it was How it was supposed to be another great Sonic game that got ruined by greediness above all.
For a song,
And even with all of that, there will still be people who support Sonic through his hardships, because everything is worth a chance. Worth a Chance is the ending theme of Sonic and the Secret Rings. It's a beautiful piano melody written and performed by Steve Conte, who also performed. The lyrics and the song itself don't really have much to do with the game at all really. It has the occasional references to Sonic in lines such as "they are all blue and blurred" and "a part of moving forward", but it does somewhat talk about the story and the experience itself. I know I'm never the same again, stating how Sonic will never be the same again after the events of Secret Rings. Goodbyes are a part of time. Sonic can't stay with Shara in her world forever, so a goodbye is inevitable. Even though the song talks about love and the queen of his heart, it wouldn't make much sense for Sonic to refer to Shara like that, since they weren't really close in that way. I guess it's just a pleasing and peaceful song that complements the calm ending of the last cutscene, where Sonic wishes for a mountain of handkerchiefs for Shara to wipe her tears with.
Well, if it's meant to be, I'm yours alone, even if you're not with me, for you are.
In the comments for this song, a lot of people say that they don't really associate this song with Sonic, since it is kinda different from what we are used to and doesn't really make many references to Sonic, but they all say that this song has helped them through hardships and that it brings tears to their eyes, which is touching. One of the best things about ending songs, and basically any video game song really, is reading the comments about people sharing their feelings, jokes and personal opinions about them. The people who have commented have helped me write this video in a way that you can't even imagine, so thank you everyone. But yeah, Worth a Chance is a great ending song for Secret Rings. Although it was performed by Steve Conte, it was actually written by Rumblebee, who performed. Catch Me If You Can, again, although different as well, being more of an electronic rock type song mixed with rap and hip-hop vocals. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity has two ending songs, much like the first game. These are Ungravitify, both the main theme of the game and the ending theme for the hero story, and a remix of Catch Me If You Can for the Babylon story. Zero Gravity's version of Catch Me If You Can, although it sounds really different and has some omitted lines from the original version, its meaning is the exact same as the original one that I've talked about. So I'm not really going to say anything about it, other than the fact that it's an absolute banger. New here is Ungravitify, performed by Casual and also written by Rumblebee. Ungravitify is a rock and electro song with high reverb on the vocals, featuring some of the trippiest lyrics in the franchise, and mostly talk about the story and the journey of the game. How, despite the inherent dangers, the characters use the arcs of the cosmos because of the abilities that they bestow upon their users. How Team Sonic, the Babylon Rogues and Eggman all fight for them. The dangers of using them, and in the game's story, trying to collect all of them and bringing them together creates a black hole that destroys the Earth, shattering the ground. The song tells you that sometimes you just gotta let go of everything and push on, that you shouldn't stand down against the rules and to keep fighting for what you believe in, to just ride on until it's true. It fits in with the game's futuristic nature with all of the weird instruments and effects, and it's a great motivational song, honestly. Both of the ending themes in this one really make me think about the Riders franchise, how great it could have been and how they just really stopped giving a fuck about it once Free Riders flopped, which is kinda sad. Weirdly, a lot of ending themes make you think about the game's, or in this case the series' potential. But yeah, I'll talk more about Free Riders in a bit, because dear my friend, we've still got some games before. Dear My Friend is the ending theme for Sonic Unleashed. It's a sweet and peaceful song, which is becoming a trend in the mainline games, performed by Brent Cash, and is dedicated to the friendship between Chip and Sonic. It talks about how Chip's heart will always be with Sonic, how he is glad that he met him, how they will never forget each other, how Sonic is Chip's best and only good friend he has ever known, and how he has helped Chip make it through and recover his memories. It also represents Chip's storyline, in that his life will go on for a long time, a reference to how he is immortal, and how Chip was able to see the Earth but then having to be sealed back in the core. It's pretty cute but also a bit sad, knowing that Chip has found happiness, but now probably has to live the rest of his days alone after meeting his only good friend. This song is very well written in the sense that not only does it fit perfectly with the story and the ending of the game, but in that it's not a song restricted to Sonic logic. It's heartwarming to see that a lot of people associate this song with their day-to-day lives, with current and past friendships of those that they love who they want to be close to or have already lost. It emits an aura of true and genuine feelings, and it's a very impactful and thoughtful ending theme for a very impactful and thoughtful ending. It makes you reflect on the whole journey, how much has changed since you started playing and how you will probably never forget the experience. It gives you a moment to yourself in your thoughts. Both this song and the whole narrative of the game teach you that darkness can never truly leave you, but you can learn to accept those negative feelings and choose to focus on what makes you happy, creating a balance within yourself. It's kinda crazy to think about how music can be so powerful that it can make you you feel both sad, happy, nostalgic, ecstatic, sorrow, and motivates you to live life. Live Life is the ending theme of Sonic and the Black Knight. It's a slower song compared to many of Crush 40's heavy rock songs, giving it a more mellow feel, combining melodic rock with classical string instruments, a recurring theme in the soundtrack. This song's message is basically the same as the game's narrative. Sonic Unleashed was about opening up yourself to friends and the inevitability of losing them, meaning that you have to make the most out of the time you have. Sonic and the Black Knight is about change and learning to live with it. It's about accepting that things never last forever and that you have to welcome change. You shouldn't let change keep you from enjoying your life. You should take it as a lesson and make the most of it to grow as a person and find new opportunities in life. And this ties up with the Sonic franchise as well. The past few years for Sonic at this point have been wild. This era has been referred to as the Dark Age of Sonic, although it is not really seen like that anymore. There were other dimensions, time travel, hoverboards, genies, demons, knights, werewolves. There was a lot of change. Sonic didn't end because of some of these titles being less critically successful than others. It rather took those failures and struggles and made itself grow as a franchise, always trying to be better and better as time went on. And I feel like Live Life is a perfect farewell to this age. Sonic might have struggled, its fans might have got a little bullied on the internet, but the future at this point looks bright and it can only get better with all the lessons we have learned over the past few years. Call it digging too deep into a child's game, sure, but I don't care. As they say, you should always speak with your heart.
Finally, we can relate. Our side by side, this is fate. I knew all along we'd find some way to communicate.
I know that Sonic Free Riders was released before Colors, but I really wanted to make that transition. Speak With Your Heart is the ending theme for Sonic Colors and it's performed by the band Cash Cash, much like the main theme Reach for the Stars. This is one of the first vocal themes in the trend of the more electronic type music we will see in the future, although we've already seen some like Dreams of an Absolution, while also featuring distorted vocals like Ungravitify. The lyrics for Speak With Your Heart touch on the game's story a lot. It's basically a parting gift from the Wisps to Sonic and Tails for helping them save their home. I knew all along we'd find some way to communicate. It's about how Tails is building a translator on his Miles Electric to understand what the Wisps are saying to them. I'm not scared to ask when I'm not sure is about Yacker pleading to Sonic and Tails for help, despite the fact that they have never seen each other, and much more. It talks about how the Wisps need Sonic's help to defeat Eggman, and how they work together to take a stand against him. As the song progresses, the vocals get less and less distorted, a clear reference to the progress Tails makes in communicating with Yacker throughout the game, which is neat, along with the lyrics saying that Yacker's pleas for help have finally been understood with the help of the translator. This song, above all, is about communication. The lyrics are corny as hell, there is no denying that, but it teaches you that no matter where you're from, we all share the same planet and should treat each other with kindness. It's a corny song that fits in with a corny story, which doesn't mean it's bad by any means. I know a lot of people that don't like it, mainly because of the vocals, but I think it sounds pretty good cute and fits in with the happy ending of the game, as well as its dreamy and futuristic style, and it never fails to make me happy when I listen to it.
Together we can take a stand. Don't fall apart. Speak with your heart and always take it with you back to the start. Don't fall apart. Speak with your heart and always take it with you back to the start.
And you better be sure that a 14-minute long credit sequence had to have good music. But at least once it finishes, you feel like you're free. Free is Sonic Free Riders' main and ending theme. It's a fast-paced electronic rock song, which title reflects what the price of this game should have been, and is actually written by Johnny Joeli from Crush 40, although performed by Chris Madden. A Crush 40 version also exists, but that one is neither the main theme nor the ending theme of this game. It feels like 90% of the game's budget went into making this song just from how good this shit is. The lyrics, not following the same trend as the other two games, don't seem to be from one character's perspective. Although with exceptions, the line, "What would it take for you to make a simple speed transition?" is literally Jet berating his opponents for their performances, because he wants them to be better and have actual competition. They touch more heavily in the story, making references about how Eggman and Metal Sonic are willing to do whatever it takes to beat their enemies. Into the Known from the Unknown makes reference to the riders finding out that the true mastermind is Metal Sonic, and are not surprised to find that their data was copied and that they were tricked. I wonder where I heard that one before. The message that this song conveys could be one of living a state of despair, sadness and feeling like the world is against you, to transitioning into a better state of mind and positive motivation. Lines such as "felt so constrained, felt so to blame, felt so ashamed, felt so refrained" are not very common for a Sonic song, and it is kind of a shock at first. Some lines and the actual refrain could represent leaving that state of darkness and being in a healthy state of mind, with it ending reaffirming that the singer is now free from whatever was limiting him. The actual ending of the game is bleh, but beating it just to listen to this song again, even if it means that your spine is the only thing set free, is worth it. It fits in perfectly once again with the futuristic vibe of the Riders games, and if it is goodbye to the series, then they probably couldn't have made a better farewell song. If the main point of the song is to motivate, then it gets it done better than it needed to. There was literally no need for it to be this fire, but you know, Sonic games have been doing that for generations. Sonic Generations makes me think about how when I get this video done, I'm never looking at this ugly face ever again. As a tribute to the classics and the entire franchise, the ending theme for Generations is a medley to all of the stage songs in this game. This, as I've said, is not a new concept in the franchise, but this one kinda hits harder than any other. It starts with a remix of the medley introduction that we've seen like an hour ago with Sonic 1. Before starting to go through the stage songs, both the classic and modern versions. This song is the perfect conclusion to what Sonic was on his 20th anniversary, almost 13 years ago. It makes you reflect on the silly little blue hedgehog that runs fast that we all love. His humble beginnings, his more ambitious installments, the inevitable bumps along the road, and where we are today. It gives you quite the ride down memory lane, whether it's the good, the bad, the weird, and the things that you can't even begin to explain. They are all part of this character that we choose to support and love, even when things don't go his way. There is literally no point in being ashamed of what went wrong, because Generations proudly wears it like armor. The fact that the credits also show game footage from whichever game the song that is playing comes from only helps this great and worthy tribute come to life. The medley starting with a happy tone in Green Hill, slowly picking up the pace until the peak of it is reached in Rooftop Run, then being slowed down by Planet Wisp as to introduce the end of the journey and make it so much more definitive, is a great detail. We then get the title screen music at the end, which is a remix of the title screen music from Sonic 1, accompanied by screenshots of all the games since Sonic Adventure until Sonic Generations, finished by a wish of happy birthday to Sonic. It's impossible not to smile. It makes you happy that you had the chance to grow up with Sonic as it also grew as a franchise, and like that kid inside of you is back. It also makes you sad in that there is nothing you can do to go back to those times where you first discovered and played the games. You can still play them today, sure, but it will never be the same as it once was. You can never go back to those days. And that's what nostalgia is really. Sad happiness. Happy sadness. That's why this song and game are a perfect tribute to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Sonic, with every game being referenced or spotlighted in some way. The rest of the world will never forget where you came from, so at least embrace it and try to make it a good and happy thing for yourself and those around you. I have no clever joke to transition to Sonic Lost World, so yeah, I'm not even gonna try. Sonic Lost World features two ending themes, kind of, sort of. There is literally a song called Ending, which is heard during the ending of the last cutscene, and then the main theme Wonderworld, which is played during the credits. Since I can't decide which to cover, I'll just cover both. Sonic Lost World is probably the game that I have the least to say about. Not even referring to the ending theme specifically, just the game in general. It's weird. The song called Ending is very small, only being 35 seconds long, and I have to say that I'm very sad it's not longer. It's a very sweet and pleasing orchestral piece that really just represents things turning out well, much like what happens in the game, where the world just goes from shithole wasteland back to normal. Even though the ending of this game is unbelievably underwhelming, the song at least gives it some meaning, transmitting that resting after battle vibe, now that everything is fine. And that's it really, go give it a listen on repeat. Wonderworld, as I've referenced, is also the main theme of Sonic Lost World. It translates the game's design and atmosphere into sound flawlessly. It feels as dreamy, colorful and silly as the game does, and it just emanates good vibes. It, as an ending theme, just transmits a good job sensation in a way. It feels much like how result screen music sounds, weirdly enough. Very cheery and happy as to congratulate you. I'm not complaining, but that's literally how it feels like, and for a game like this, I guess it's weirdly appropriate. So yeah, that was my little guided tour of Sonic Lost World's ending themes. Guided Tour is the ending theme for Sonic Mania, and I gotta stop with these jokes. We are jumping 4 years into the future from when Sonic Lost World was released because I am pretending that boom never happened. This song perfectly encapsulates the reincarnation of the old classic Sonic we knew and all the journey leading up to this point. It's a celebration song above all, and translates the feeling of the 90s retro Sonic music into the modern era perfectly, with a jazzier feel. T-Lops really did a good job with this soundtrack. Like the game, this song is just a fun time. It features numerous leitmotifs from other songs in this game, like Discovery and Ruby Delusions, making it that much more rich and meaningful, while also having some beautiful, fully original melodies. Listening to this song nowadays just makes me reminisce about the times when Sonic Mania was announced and I was really hyped for it. I remember it getting delayed by like 2 weeks, and those being the 2 longest weeks of my life. It feels like it was a lifetime ago. It makes me remember about the first time I saw that title screen, played through the stages and had the time of my life. It was also with this game that I started creating Sonic content for YouTube. All of those videos are now private since they sucked ass, but you know, it's always good to remember where you came from, isn't that right? This track perfectly complements the ending of the game. It flawlessly transmits that happy, confident and optimistic nature of classic Sonic and seamlessly fits itself into the soundtrack, carrying that jazzy, heavily synth-based funky style, and has such a definitive tone to it. Much like Sonic Lost World's ending theme, it feels like it's congratulating you, and it's very welcome. It will no doubt be a legendary ending theme, and it represents perfectly what classic Sonic is all about. It just reassures you that even if a Sonic game isn't particularly good, a light of hope will always be there for the soundtrack. I said that I've got to stop and I didn't. The Light of Hope is the ending theme for Sonic Forces. During the production of my Sonic Forces bonus video, which you should really just check out if you're still watching, I got the chance to listen to this song again, and I had forgotten how much I loved this song. I really wanted to include it in the video, but couldn't really think of any way to do so, other than doing a little credit sequence, but it isn't very typical from me. And my analysis of this will probably be extremely cheesy, but you know, it is what it is. If people ask me about the first ending theme I think about, be it Sonic or any other video game, and any sort of media for that matter, I think of this song. Although it's not a very old song, it's not even 6 years old, it has left a mark too big on me to ignore. Sonic Forces is one of the first games that I remember being hyped about. You might think that I'm like 12 years old, but the fact is that I really didn't care for Sonic for some years, until eventually getting back to it around 2016. I remember desperately wanting to play it, and when I did, at the time I didn't feel disappointed. I really enjoyed the game. Of course, my opinion about it has changed a bit over the years, but I can't help but feel that sort of magic I did back then when listening to this song. But I also can't help but feel a little bit of sadness as well. For me, just the way this song sounds basically reminds me of the potential this game had, how great it could have been and how it really wasn't. Its soft piano ballad feels like it's mourning the disappointment surrounding this game. I'm usually not one to hate on Forces because I do kinda enjoy it still, even though I do realize that most of it comes from the magic I feel when playing that my younger self left in there untouched. Listening to it while watching the cinematic shots of the stages in the credits really just makes that feeling stand out more. Its lyrics sing about what you would expect, a light of hope in a world that was devastated by war, reiterating the importance of friendship and camaraderie that is found in the main theme Fist Bump. The world that they see is destroyed by war. The world they knew, they remember, is gone, and so much has happened that it was almost too much for the resistance to deal with. But even through all the hardships, they still stand triumphant. And now it's up to them to make new and beautiful life spring from the ruins of the Eggman Empire. The refrain strengthens the idea that Sonic and his friends have made it through all of their hardships unharmed and stronger than ever, and will always see another tomorrow no matter what Eggman is planning. On the same note, the song addresses the importance of fighting your fears, with Sonic encouraging the Avatar to believe in themselves and give it their all, eventually learning to become a hero of their own. This song is much like Dear My Friend, both in style and in message. It reiterates that you should go out there and spend the time that remains to you and to those you love with them, that you should be there for them when they need you, when things get rough, and also when things are going right, and that they should do the same thing to you, that you should take the opportunity when things don't go your way to grow stronger. It feels very much like a Disney princess song, I'm not gonna lie. But if that's your reason to dislike it, then fuck you. It's a beautiful song that fits perfectly with the ending of the game, transmitting the sensation that we could find a light of hope even when posed against impossible odds, and that we overcame them. And that's what Sonic is about really, fighting impossible odds and still coming out on top. And I've still got 2 songs to cover, which means I haven't won anything yet in Sonic Frontiers. The most recent Sonic game is Sonic Frontiers, released on the 8th of November 2022, 5 years and 1 day after Forces, funnily enough. A completely different game from what we are used to, Frontiers tries to take itself more seriously both in its story and in its environments, and that is perfectly reflected in both of the ending themes. Frontiers' ending themes are Vandalize for the easy and normal difficulties, and Dear Father for the hard difficulty and true ending of the game. Let's start by taking a look at Vandalize. Vandalize is an alt-rock song, part of a collaboration between One OK Rock and Sega, which I don't think it was composed specifically for the game, since it was featured on their album just a few days later. According to Sega, Vandalize reflects both the vast gameplay environment and high-speed action you can expect from Sonic Frontiers. And it does really. It's fast-paced, thrilling, and goes raw fire and peak fiction like the game itself. It fits perfectly as the ending theme because it just reflects everything that you just went through in the game and the story, and it just carries on the hype through and through. It has a much more serious undertone compared to the other ending themes that we've seen recently, which just goes along with the actual game really well. The lyrics themselves don't really have anything to do with the game or Sonic at all, which is also why I don't really think this song was specifically made for the game, especially since this song literally drops the F-bomb on multiple occasions and says to fuck his pain away, which are all of course censored in the game version. Not that this is the first song in Sonic history to drop profanities like it's nothing, but still, it's the first to contain that type of it. The original version also contains some lyrics in Japanese which are not present in the game version, probably because almost no one would understand them, but it wouldn't really matter since it's Peak and I don't need subtitles for that, that's universal. And the last ending theme is probably the most fitting for this video. I do want to stress that if you haven't finished Frontiers, then maybe skip until the outro in the video timeline since there will be some spoilers. Dear Father is a peaceful and sweet lo-fi song that does feel how a farewell feels like. The song is a dedication to Sage's relationship with Eggman, which allowed us to see the most emotional version of Eggman thus far, finally showing that he isn't as emotionless and ruthless as people make him out to be. The lyrics are sung from Sage's perspective and are quite sad. She sings about how she's going to miss Eggman, which is a first that someone is gonna miss him, that Sonic and his friends inspired her to learn how to have human emotions, and that taught her what it means to love Eggman, how she's grateful that she got the chance to be his child, how she wants to protect him, and how all she wanted was to make him proud. This feels very definitive, even though the post-credits scene shows that Eggman successfully recovers Sage, which, fun fact, is actually foreshadowed by the lyrics. Even then, this one in my opinion is perhaps the most powerful song in the franchise. Once again, reading comments from this song, a lot of people share their experience and how they have lost a parent and how this song makes them remember them and makes them cry. I never ever would have thought that I would be this emotionally attached and sympathetic to Eggman and the robot girl in my life, but here we are. The relationship that is built between them during the story is incredible and a breath of fresh air to the more corny and simple stories we've been treated with recently. I think that it's impossible that, after playing the game, you don't feel slightly sad while listening to this song. The scene where Eggman is on the cliff and just looks devastated when this song starts playing is heart-shattering. He looks so sad. Its meaning carries to real life and day-to-day situations, as well as it does in the story context, which just makes it that more timeless. And with all of that, what really makes a good ending song in a Sonic game? The answer is uncertain. The variety of ending songs in this franchise is something to behold. They can make you feel happy, sad, ecstatic, gloomy, invigorated, moody, motivated, emotional, determined. I'm literally just listing feelings at this point. I personally think that every song I covered here is incredible as an ending theme in their own right. Some are epic, some are sad, some are corny as hell, playful, some are more serious, but they all work together to perfectly close out each experience in a way that couldn't be described nor achieved by simple words, lines of dialogue, or even cutscenes. Songs convey messages and feelings that can't always be put into words. That's why ending themes are important to get right. They need to feel like a conclusion to a story, to be memorable and leave an impact on the people who listen to it. They will always provoke different sensations and create different feelings in each and every one of us, and that's the beauty of it, because not everyone feels the same about a particular game, about a particular story, about a particular experience. So we can all share our thoughts, stories, jokes and feelings, and all contribute to greatness and give meaning to mere sound waves. And that's all I have for this episode. Sorry if it was too corny, it just happened. I would seriously like to read about what you think are the best ending themes in the Sonic franchise, and to see if I didn't cover some that you thought deserved the spotlight. I also have a Twitter if you want to follow me there, and I would really appreciate if you subscribe if you enjoy my content, as it does really help me out a ton. And that's about it really. I'll hopefully see you soon.